Hi friends, it's Miss Robinson, and today we're going to start going over the story, The Brave Little Toaster. And the first thing that we should do is, as you can see, I have my textbook in front of me, so you need to have your textbook out so that you can see what we're reading. You can follow along with our story, and you'll be able to identify the different notice and note signposts as we go. I have them on a sticky note here just so I have a reminder of what I'm looking for as I'm reading, something that will help me better understand the story. But it would be great if you guys just had your notes out next to you so that you can remember what all these different signposts mean and so that you can identify them as we read. So the first thing we're going to do, our book has our story lined out pretty easily, pretty clearly for us. It has a background, so I like to know about who wrote my story so I can kind of understand what their perspective is and their purpose for writing it. So let's read the background really quick. Cory Doctorow is a journalist, a blogger, and the author of many works of science fiction. His young adult novels include Homeland, Pirate Cinema, and the award-winning Little Brother, which was also adapted for the stage. His other works include graphic novels, essays, and short stories. Doctorow was born in Toronto, Canada, and lives in Los Angeles. In addition to his other pursuits, he works for the Electronic Frontier Foundation, which aims to protect freedom in technology law and policies. So this guy is extremely intelligent. We know that about him. He has obviously written a lot of different types of books. So this is not his first story to write. He writes in different genres. And if we look at him, we can kind of identify a little bit of like what his perspective might be. He's from Canada. And he lives in Los Angeles. And so these are all important things that kind of help us understand the background of our author and our story. You also know that it's really important to him that we protect freedom and technology, okay? He is part of an organization that protects freedom and technology. So as we're reading, just keep those things in mind, and we're gonna go ahead and get started. This story goes from page 7 to page 10 or 11 in our book. And so today we're gonna go through page 7 and 8. I'm gonna let you finish page 9 and 10, and then I'm gonna catch up with you on page 11 tomorrow, and we'll go through our check for understanding questions, okay? So let's go ahead and get started, and we can begin. Alrighty, so we're gonna set a purpose. As we read, we're gonna think about the role that technology plays in our story. We're gonna note the details about Mr. Toussaint's interactions with certain devices and how he is motivated to respond. So he's an important character in our story, okay? So that's what we're gonna focus on today as we are reading. One day, Mr. Toussaint came home to find an extra 300 euros worth of groceries on his doorstep. Oh, you saw this little 1 right here, right? So it might be important for us to look down at the bottom of our book and see what they're referring to and what they need us to know, some more background knowledge about 300 euros worth. Euros worth, valued in euros, the currency of European Union. So 300 euros worth is equivalent to about 350 American dollars, okay? So he came home to find 300 extra euros, 350 extra dollars worth of groceries on his doorstep. That might be kind of interesting. If you think about it, $350 worth of groceries is also a lot. That's enough to feed a family, right? Probably for multiple weeks, I think. And so, yeah, 350 euros worth. So he called up Miss Rousseau, the grocer, and said, "Why have you sent me all this food? My fridge is already full of delicious things. I don't need this stuff, and besides, I can't pay for it." Okay, something we're also going to identify as we read today is the importance of dialogue in a story, right? Dialogue is when people are talking back and forth. So he says, "Why have you sent me all this food?" He opened his quotation with an opening quotation mark. "Why have you sent me all this food? My fridge is already full of delicious things. I don't need this stuff. And besides, I can't pay for it, period." Close quotation. So we know that he's talking to someone, right? But Miss Rousseau told him that he had ordered the food. His refrigerator had sent in the list, and she had the signed order to prove it. Now this is underlined because we are identifying a notice and note strategy here. Contrasts and contradictions, right? There are details in just these first few paragraphs that show us that what he's thinking is in contrast with what was actually happening. His his refrigerator sent a list, right? And so we're going to try and draw conclusions on these details. What do you think is the setting of this story, guys? What's the setting? What time and place is this happening? Obviously, it's happening in his house, right? Or on his front doorstep. And he's a little bit confused as to why these groceries are here, right? Okay, so his refrigerator had sent in the list and she had signed the order to prove it. Furious, Mr. Toussaint confronted his refrigerator. It was mysteriously empty, even though it had been full that morning. Or rather, it was almost empty. There was a single pouch of energy drink sitting on a shelf in the back. He'd gotten it from an enthusiastically smiling young woman on the Metro platform the day before. Oh, we have a number 2, so we're going to go down to the bottom. The Metro is a subway, if you didn't already know that. So he had gotten it from an enthusiastically smiling young woman on the Metro platform the day before. She'd been giving them to everyone. Why did you throw away all my food? He demanded. The refrigerator hummed smugly at him. It was spoiled, it said. Okay, something else with setting that we were talking about before. We know it's happening at his house. And what we also need to think about is the time period, right? So can your refrigerator talk to you right now? If it does, there might be something wrong with it. Your refrigerators cannot talk to us right now, right? Can our refrigerators order groceries for us right now in 2020? I don't think so. So he's obviously in the future, and we know that he has gone and he has met this woman on the Metro, on the subway, and she sold him an energy drink, right? Then he comes home, brand new groceries on his front step, and all of the food that was in his refrigerator is gone except for the energy drink that he bought. That is pretty weird, right? So let's keep reading. But the food hadn't been spoiled. Mr. Toussaint pored over his refrigerator's diagnostics and log files, and soon enough, he had the answer. It was the energy beverage, of course. Row, row, row your boat, it sang gently down the stream, merrily, 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 merrily. I'm off-gassing ethylene. What? Off-gassing ethylene. Okay, we need to check this out because look, it has a little 3. Off-gassing ethylene means it's releasing a flammable gas, C2H4. Okay, that is probably not very great. So Mr. Toussaint, he says, open quotation, no, you're not, comma, close quotation, he said. The label said that the drink was called Looney Gooney and it promised 1 trillion times more powerful than espresso. 1, 1, 1. Mr. Toussaint began to suspect that the pouch was some kind of stupid Internet of Things prank. He hated those. Internet of Things prank, number 4. The network of devices, including smart appliances that are connected to the internet. So he is realizing that the pouch is not just a regular energy drink, but it is actually included with the network of devices that are involved with smart appliances, okay, and it's connected to the internet. He chucked the pouch in the rubbish, so this is the trash can, and put his new groceries away. Okay, he's moving on with his life, right? The next day, Mr. Toussaint came home and discovered that the overflowing rubbish was still sitting in its little bag under the sink. The can had not cycled it through the trap door to the chute that ran to the big collection point at ground level, 104 stories below. Why haven't you emptied yourself? Quotations. So he's talking, right? Who is he talking to? The trash can, he demanded. The trash can told him that the toxic substances had to be manually sorted. What toxic substances? Who said that? Mr. Toussaint. So he took out everything in the bin, one piece at a time. You've probably guessed what the trouble was. Excuse me if I'm chattery. I don't mean to nattery, but I'm a mercury battery. Looney Gooney's singing voice really got on Mr. Toussaint's nerves. Looney Gooney is the energy drink. It's singing to him, right? This is, again, in the future. There's a lot of technology happening. No, you're not, Mr. Toussaint said. Mr. Toussaint tried the microwave. Even the cleverest squeezy pouch couldn't survive a good nuking. But the microwave wouldn't switch on. Quotation marks, the microwave's talking now. I'm no drink and I'm, oh wait, sorry, Looney Gooney is talking. I'm no drink and I'm no meal, Looney Gooney saying. I'm a ferrous lump of steel. So ferrous means containing iron. Can your microwave things that have metal in them? No. So what is happening over and over, again and again? If we go back to our notice and note strategy, again and again. This is what we've done so far. We've covered again and again, and contrasts and contradictions. Again and again, what's happening in this story? Mr. Toussaint is going to different forms of technology and trying to solve his problem. And are they working? Nope. As you read over these next 2 pages, and I catch up with you on the final page, I want you to continue to read and ask yourself questions as you read. Analyze, right? Identify the bold words of vocabulary while you're reading, guys. In your book, it tells you what you're supposed to analyze and mark and annotate. So do that as you read. You are going to read pages 9 and 10. There's a notice and note strategy on here, so we're going to go over that when we come back together. And yeah, just take the rest of your day today in your English time and read pages 9 and 10 of The Brave Little Toaster. And then I will catch up with you guys tomorrow to finish the story and go over our check for understanding questions. It's Miss Robinson. Talk to you later. Bye.